I'm trying to record a course, so I want you guys to be part of it. So what I want you to do now is to let me know if you can hear me at all. Can you hear me loud and clear? If you can hear me, then we can go ahead. If then I have to adjust my audio settings. Okay, do let me know if you can hear me. So basically, what I want to teach is how to convert your small business into a startup in 3 days. All right. How to convert your small business into a startup in 3 days. So this is something that many people would really appreciate because every time you hear on the media that people are raising funds, this one just raised 100 million naira, this one just raised. The latest one we heard is that a company in Nigeria raised $200 million. You know how much is $200 million? $1 million, just $1 million is almost 500 million naira. Now multiply it by 200. That's how much a startup in Nigeria raised. So if you can hear me clearly, then we're good to go. But if you can't hear me, let me know in the comments, okay? So I can adjust my audio settings. So I can see you guys' comments. And if you're just joining, I'm trying to record a course so that people in Nigeria and all over the world would learn how to um, grow their businesses, convert your business to a startup, and raise millions within a few period. Okay, so let me know what you are able to hear, and we can go ahead. So like I said, I'm recording a course, so sometimes I may not even be talking to you guys on YouTube. I might be talking to my course listeners. Now, if you're watching this at any point in the future and you want to get a link to the course with all the resource materials, I'll put it in the comment section after this video. Okay? So feel free to smash the like button, ask questions in the comment section. Okay, I'll answer your questions here. If you have questions in the comment section that are within the scope of this video, I'll answer them directly. Okay. Hello guys, how are you doing? It's your boy Dave Partner, and in this course we'll be going over how to convert your small business into a startup within few days. All right, now the problem is that many people don't know the difference between a small business and a startup, and they're wondering why so much money is not coming in and nobody is giving them lots of money to invest in the business. Okay, so when it comes to startups and small businesses, there are a lot of tiny little differences. They look alike, but there are tiny little differences that can make all the differences. So in this course, I'm going to be showing you the distinctions. So finally, when you look back at your business, you just know one or two things to turn and one or two knobs to turn, and all of a sudden your business is ready for massive investments by investors that have a lot of money. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to look at is make sure that if you're watching this, you follow me on social media. I'm Dave Partner on all social media. All right, except you see the ones that are not black. Sometimes there are white people dragging my name with me. Okay, so the very first thing most people worry about when it comes to small businesses, and this is what keeps them low, okay, permanently small, is that they don't want to cede control. All right, people will normally ask you, like I was discussing with somebody yesterday, and she was asking, so if I invest if I allow an investor to invest into my business, does it mean that they're going to take control of the business? I don't want to give out any part of my business. And honestly, that's a legitimate a concern. All right, so we're going to look at it in this video and see ways around that. All right. So a good example is one example I usually give people is if you want to move from your part of the country to the other part of the country. All right, do you say, I don't want anybody's investment, I don't want anybody's help, I'm going to trek, I don't need any bike or airplane or boss, I'm going to do my trekking by myself to the other part of the country. you know, honestly, some people have done it, but many people that tried it didn't get there alive. Or maybe you get there, but you get there too late. By the time arriving for the event, it's too late. You wasted months in the journey. Okay, so if you want to get somewhere, you have to take into cognizance the fact that some other people um, might impute something that will make your journey easier. In exchange, they are going to ask for something else. All right, so when it comes to investments, we are going to treat it further down in this tutorial. But when it comes to small businesses but startups, you will see that there are tiny little changes that you need to do both in mentality and physically on the business that will certainly attract investors to give you money. Because at the end of the day, the objective of doing business is to make money. So if at the end of the day you run a business for 10, 15 years and you are still not rich, or you've not gotten the money to influence the society the way you want and fulfill your other dreams, then it's a bad business for you. All right, so see you in the course where we treat some of these things. And I hope at the end of this course, you would have learned enough about small businesses and startups, and some of your fears must have been addressed in this course, and you will be able to convert your business, your small business, into a budding startup that is ready for massive financial infusion by big sharks and whales that have a lot of money in the industry. Now, if you are taking this course as a first course, I've already created, and this resource material I created is already on our platform, brainterm.org. And what it does is it gives you a list of every place in Nigeria where you can apply for funding and get millions of naira. In fact, the least money there that they're giving out monthly to small businesses or to startups is 10 million naira. Okay, now some people will give you this money free. They don't want anything from you just because they like your startup. Your startup falls into a category of businesses that they like. All right, they're going to give you this money free. They are up to about 10, 15 different foundations that give money free. All right, now some are investments. So when these investors, they will give you anywhere between 10 to 50 million naira and take a percentage of your company in exchange. So now somebody will ask, why do I have to give out a percentage of my company? I don't want 50 million naira. Somebody will come here and be controlling me. That's correct. Now, here's the thing, right? When you're in a small business and somebody gives you money, you usually want to collect that money as a loan. All right, so that when you make money, you give it back. So any business you see that is taking a loan to do something and give it back, most likely they're a small business, or they're avoiding to give out control of the business. All right, so when you see banks advertising, come and take million naira loan to start your business, it's not a serious business that you're starting with that money, because there's something missing. Look at how startups do it. When startups want to take loan, that loan is not really 100% of what they want. They want to use that loan as a rope to rope in the investor and take advantage of the investor's expertise and connections in the industry. All right. So if I was starting something in the media, let's say I want to make my channel into a big media company in Nigeria. All right. One way I could do it is to go to the bank and ask for loan. But if I ask for loan, there are some expertise in media that I'm lacking that may make that business fail. And then I have to pay back the loan again. But if it's a startup, I want to go to somebody that is already rich and has connections in the media industry and say, hey, you give me 25 million naira, you take 6% or 5% of my company. The moment they take that 5% of your company, they have been roped in. Because what happens is that now they are vested in the company and they want that company to succeed. Here's a good example. In this course, I want to avoid throwing around so many numbers because some people are just scared by numbers. This is a course I want to be very, very basic. But look at this. If I built a business and I convince somebody that this my business is worth 100 million naira, and the person gives me 25 million naira for 10% of the company. Or let's say if I convince somebody that my business is worth 250 million naira, and the person gives me 25 million naira for 10% of my company. That's what it means. You understand? So if somebody is giving you money, they are and taking a percentage, from that percentage they accepted to take, you can calculate how much they feel that your company is worth. So if you give me 25 million naira and take only 10%, it means that you feel, you're convinced that my business is already worth 250 million naira. But me, at this point, I may not know it. So the moment you take your first finances into the business, or financing into the business, you can now tell how much your company is truly worth. Now, if they take 10%, fine. What if in 1 year's time your business grows by times 10? Now it's worth 200 and is now worth 2.5 billion naira. It means that their 10% that they originally had that was worth 25 million naira is now worth 250 million naira. That is, if they want to sell that 10% and leave your company, what they're going to sell it is 250 million naira. Why? Because your company grew times 10 within the period. You understand? So if somebody takes a percentage of your business, they want that business to succeed. Now, what you're going to experience is that investor will start calling their contacts. So let's say you make video edits, okay? Or let me say I'm using my channel as example. If I started it as a proper media company and I get a, what do you call it, an investor, what's going to happen is that this investor, once they get a percentage of the company, they will start calling their political friends and say, go and interview with this company. Okay, I have these friends of mine that are running a business, grant them an interview. So before you know it, I'm granting interview to the vice president. My channel is granting interview to the presidents of different countries. And you'll be wondering how it happened. How did it happen? Because one of the investors, is making it happen, is pulling strings in the background. So because my channel is now granting interview to big names, the channel grows very fast. So when you're starting a startup, you want a startup to be worth millions within a year or two. Within a year or two, you want the business to be worth multi-millions. It's different from running a small business that you're okay with any amount of money coming in, as long as it's not bad and you're cruising for the year. Next year, you start again, you're cruising. Imagine somebody selling provisions at a shop. As long as they can get money to feed and pay house rent and possibly pay school fees, they're fine. The way you know that thing is dangerous is when a problem that is more than that business hits you. You get. So if your dream is to grow this business you have now or the one you're about to start, if your dream is to grow it beyond beyond just everyday income, all right, then this course is for you. Okay, so thank you very much. See you in the next video. So guys on YouTube, let me read your comments. Feel free to ask questions. So don't forget that I'm recording video. I'm also watching comments on YouTube, guys. So feel free to ask questions in the comments and I will be there to answer exactly the questions. Okay. So I'm observing the comments in YouTube. So personally, I believe that many of these things are not being taught on a regular in Nigeria. That's why I just decided that if I can just teach many of these, and it's going to help a lot of people. In case you don't know my site, it's braintime.org. I have a resource there. The resource I talked about, it contains phone number, addresses, emails of companies and rich men in Nigeria that are giving out millions. The other day, Obi Kubana gave out about $2,000 to 300 people. $2,000 is about 1 million naira, okay? He gave out about 1 million naira to 300 people in his village as what? Grants. Okay, that's not an investment per se because he's not asking them for a share of their business. No, he's just saying, take this money, go and run your business and grow. That's a grant. So I compiled a list of people doing that kind of thing in Nigeria. All you need is get your hand on that list and apply. By the time you apply to 10, at least one or two will listen to you. Some of my friends 3 years ago, they raised $450,000 in their business. The business is for profit. They're making money. They applied, boom, $450,000 in Nigeria here. Shock you. You know? So I compile the list of that. It's no longer a secret thing now. Once you grab my list, it empowers you. It's on my website, brain10.org. So if you go now, you can order it now. Even though I've not made it public to the public, but if you're watching this YouTube, you're among the first people to know that that course has gone live now. Okay, which means I'll be increasing the price a little later in the day. So just go down to my site and check it out. It's a spreadsheet that contains, there's no other resource like that in the country. Most people that raise funding don't want people to know how they did it, you know. It's just like when Nigerians get scholarship abroad, you know, before you know they got Chevening scholarship and they're now in London studying. And you are like their friend, you see them all of a sudden, they are now on Facebook snapping pictures in London. How did you do it? They'll be like, "Ah, my friend, now God, though." You know, is that not what we're suffering in this country? They'll tell you, say, now God, though. They will not tell you um, how they actually did it. So in my what do you call it? In my course, that resource is a very important, valuable resource material that you may not need now, but whenever you need it, it's there. Many people don't know that Bill Gates is giving out money to Nigerians. People don't know. You know what you don't know is bigger than you. It's an adage in my language. You know, I speak the language of the gods. What you don't know is bigger than you. Bill Gates is giving out money to Nigerians for years now. People will collect this money and keep quiet. They will not tell. All of a sudden, the person is driving Range Rover, you don't know. Or their business just succeeded. You'll be like, how did it happen? Yeah, because what? Bill Gates gave them money. So there are contacts to that. I put contacts to people that you call and they have been issuing out money. You call them, you know, or you message them, just chat them up. Hello, I'm from this place. So the partner referred me to you. I understand that you people are giving out money to businesses. I have a business. What is the process? So go to my site now, brain10.org, and get it. Okay. Feel free to drop questions. I'm trying to prepare my next course slide, and I'm also reading your comments. Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome to our second slide on this course. Here we're going to be comparing the ideology uh, mentally between small businesses and startups. Now, small businesses are self-sustained and self-sustaining organizations, and they generate revenue from the first day. So if you're thinking of a business that generates revenue from day one, you're thinking of a small business. For instance, selling corn in the street. You're not thinking of, let me sell 10,000 corns first and then get a lot of customers before I start charging them. You don't think like that. You know, when you get to the street, you want to sell corn, you start thinking of how much you will make profit per corn sold from the very first corn. In fact, if somebody bought a corn without paying you, you shut down the shop and chase after them. So when you're thinking of your business in that respect, just know that you're thinking of a small business. Okay. Now, how is it different from a startup? Now, before we even look at a startup, you know that this business model ensures that the business itself generates the money that is used to run the business. So it makes sense for anybody to start that kind of business. So there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So when you're thinking of, for instance, tailoring job, you want to start a tailoring shop, you know, and you have already calculated how much you charge your customers per clothes sold and everything, it's perfectly fine. It's because you're wanting to raise enough money to run the business on its own. So, but when you look at startups are different in the sense that the primary goal of startups is to grow very fast and take over the market. You understand? So they want to grow very fast and take over the market. That is the primary goal of startups. So every other thing is secondary in terms of startup. So whether they are going to make money, it's secondary. I mean, whether they're going to make money immediately, it's secondary. Okay, whether they're going to seed a part of the business to another investor, you know, whether they're going to change the organizational and ownership structure of the business is secondary. Their primary goal is how can we start from zero to hero in 1 or 2 years. Some will just put a cap on 5 years, you know. So a good example is that Uber started years ago. Today, Uber is not profitable. But Uber is worth billions of dollars, not naira, billions of dollars. But Uber has not made profit. Why? Because Uber wants to expand into every city in the world. You know, especially major cities, they want to expand and be the number one car hailing brand in the world. Whether they're making profit or not is not their problem. Once they capture this market, then they can start looking at making profit. So the cost of expansion in Uber is eating up their profit. And investors are okay with this because they can see that if we look at this business at a small scale, it makes sense. Okay. If we look at this business at a scale that, oh, okay, it's small, it makes perfect sense. Okay. Now we can understand where their profit is going. They are using it, the expansion is taking up all the profits. Another good example is TikTok. Do you know that last year, 2020, every blessed day from January 1st to December 31st in last year, that TikTok was spending 7 billion naira equivalent in adverts per day. So their parent company was pumping massive, unimaginable, you know, amounts of money into adverts. So when are they going to make the profit? They are not profitable. I think they are now profitable now, right? But the amount of money they put in adverts will show you that they are not out there to play children games, you know. You know, they don't come there to play Bang Bang Kolo if Natimaya. You know, they came there to take over the market. They want to be the number one social media when it comes to short videos. And honestly, I think they took it from Instagram to a great deal, to a great extent. They really took it from Instagram to the point that US started interfering. US government under Trump interfered and forced them to cede control of TikTok, 20% of TikTok to US companies, to US companies. So if you look back at your business now and start looking at it from the eye of a startup, you will see that you don't just want daily income and transactions. No, you want to take over the market, which means you stop looking at your business in terms of profit and loss. You start looking at it in terms of how much or how many users acquired. You understand? How many users, how much percentage of the industry have you already acquired? Or what strategies are you going to put in place to acquire that percentage of the market? You want the lion's share of the market. So if you're running a makeup studio, for instance, you want to be the number one makeup brand in the whole country. It's not that the whole country is coming to your shop to do makeup. No, it means that everywhere you turn around, it's your shop brand, your shop brand. The way you have Mary Kay, what do you call it? Mary Kay makeup brand or line of products. You know, once you say Mary Kay, people think of what? Quality. So when people want to go for quality, they go for Mary Kay. That is startup. Okay. Now, in your own case, you want to have something. Now, when people think of converting their business to startups, the primary question I usually ask them to help them think in that direction is that your small business now, if somebody gives you 500 million naira, which is $1 million, if somebody gives you $1 million today, that you have to put 100% of it into your business and grow it, what are the things you're going to spend that money on in your business? You know, so I want you at the end of this course, take a biro and imagine that you have received 500 million naira. What would you do about your business to ensure that it expands and becomes the number one brand in the industry? I know many people abroad, the business they do is help Nigerians get abroad. It's a low-key business, in case you don't know. You understand? So if somebody gave you 500 million naira, now in a month, they might be able to successfully, if they work hard, get one or two Nigerians to go abroad, for a percentage of the money. So they get paid for their services, and then they show the Nigerian the way to apply, help them process the application, and then they go abroad. That's a business, but it's a small business, right? Now, if you are given 500 million naira and you're told to expand this business, what are the things you are going to spend this money on? You get. So that's the way. And what are the fundamental changes you're going to make in the business model? You get what I'm saying? Now, the key thing about startups is that they are both scalable, repeatable, and can grow fast. You understand? So a startup is both scalable, repeatable, and can grow fast, while a small business is self-sustaining. So what do we mean by self-sustaining? We've already explained that, but what do we mean by scalable? Scalable is a business that you can increase the output of the business without increasing the inputs correspondingly. So let's say the input in your business is you and your 4 staff. Maybe you're running a blog and 4 people are blogging for you. Fine. And which means you guys are 5. That's the input into the business. And what's the output? Maybe at the end of the month, you're able to make $2,000 off Google AdSense. So how do you start making $100,000 off Google AdSense without increasing the 5 people that are contributing to that blog? If there is a method you can devise to do that, that means your business is scalable. So if investors, that's what they usually look at. If we give this guy this amount of money they're asking for, can they significantly grow this business without having to increase the inputs correspondingly? It doesn't mean you will not increase your input, but let's be that the output will far outweigh the input just because of an inner working that was changed. Hope you get it now. So if you look at now the second part, quality of a startup is not just scalability, which we just discussed, is repeatability. Can they take this business, go to the next city and implement it and it works? Uber works in US. Probably that's where they started it. Probably I'm thinking of a big city like New York. But Uber works in Lagos perfectly. We don't even have the same systems. Uber works in countries where they are not even driving on the same side of the road. You understand? So because it's repeatable, they can lift that business model, apply it somewhere else, and boom, it starts working. A good example is KFC and Mr. Biggs and Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza works in the US, it works in the UK, works in Saudi Arabia, works in Russia, works in Nigeria. Because what they just lift the process. What's the process? They have already standardized the process that they can copy it and reproduce it anywhere else. So when people are giving you money for your business, they are thinking of not just that your city or that your location. They're thinking of, can we take this thing that this guy is doing and reproduce it elsewhere? So you have to think of your business in that method. How can you take your business and reproduce it? And reproducing it means that you will not be there in all the branches. So I understand has this recipe that they use to prepare their pizzas across different countries. And then sometimes per country, they can have a recipe that is customized to that country. What of the payment process? In all Domino's Pizza, once you see that it's a Domino's Pizza, you already know how it works. You understand? Once you get into the shop, you already know how it works. You know that you're going to pay and wait and get your pizza, and this is how it works. This, that. That's scalable and repeatable. So this your business. Think of it in that method. If somebody gives you 500 million naira, can you come up with a formula that can put it in every country? Okay, every location or something like that. There are so many other definitions of repeatable, but this is just one example. Now, the last one that is very, very important is quick. Can you get that thing done? Can you blow that business within a year or two? Any business that you still run at a low ground level for more than 2 years is no longer a startup. First year, you're supposed to raise funding. First year of starting the business, you're supposed to raise funding. A good example is here in Nigeria, there's a lady that came up with an idea that I think they call it Life Bank. You can Google it, LIFE Bank. Okay. So Life Bank The idea they came up with is when people are in the hospital and the hospital runs out of blood and these people need blood transfusion, they usually don't know where to go buy it. The family, hospital might send the family, go and look for blood. You see the family running around, going from one hospital to the other, not knowing where to get blood. You know, you're not just looking for any blood, you're looking for the one that matches your patient. So this lady came up with an app. It's like a shopping app, picture it like Conga or Jumia, but what you sell there is blood. So they take stock of the blood banks in all hospitals. Okay, this is happening in Lagos. So they take um, count of the bloods and their genotype and their groups. Okay, and then how much each of those hospitals are selling them or blood banks are selling them. So now, if you're in a hospital and somebody needs blood, the person just needs to download the app and type their blood group and the genotype, and boom, they see the amount to pay. They pay with their ATM card, and somebody delivers the blood. You know, a delivery man just picks the blood from that hospital and goes to the next hospital and delivers it. Smart, right? Now, she has been getting grants. I'm not even talking about investments. I don't have any idea of their investment, but the grants they have gotten, 1 year like this, you will get 100,000 grants. This thing started like in 2016, 2017. I think that was when they launched. Before you know it, boom, they got about $100,000. Another boom, they got another 150, another $150,000. They just go and Google it. Just Google Life Bank receives grant. You just see money. Because anybody they tell that business will be like, wow. Now those grants are because they feel that they are solving a fundamental key problem. Now, what of investors coming in? Investors can already see that this thing can be replicated across cities in the world. It's like an Uber, but for blood. You understand? So looking at your business, you want to see how you can scale it. Now, if you get that business model correctly, you're going to raise money within that year. Within that year, you're going to raise money. They said Udemy is a tutorial platform. They, they have to apply to 30 investors before they raise money. Okay, but the fact that they were able to finally raise money shows you that look, if you start your business, you should be able to raise money within that year. Otherwise, it's a small business and you're preparing for a lifetime of suffering. Okay, so see you in the next course. I hope now that you've seen one clear distinction between a startup and a small business and how you're going to take another look at your business and convert it into a startup. Okay, all right, see you in the next video. How far you two people? Michael, I can see you. Samuel, how are you doing? I hope you're still there. And Prince Emo, the legend. Prince, I hail. I hail. How are you doing? Hope you're enjoying the course. I just felt that I should start putting you guys in the process of how I make my courses, and probably you guys can learn a lot from it. So I hope the whole thing is interesting and making sense more. Now, if you want the full course, just know that you can. Thanks, Prince, man. I can see your comments. Just know that you can always chat me up here on WhatsApp, and also our site is always there. Keep asking questions in the comments. I will answer it though. This course is live. So if you drop a question, I'll answer it. Yes, the legend. You can chat me up for that. Legend said he wants to make money from online business. Yeah, just chat me up on WhatsApp. We can even get on a call. We can even get on a phone call. All right. My target is to make 100 online business courses. Everything, every way to make money online. I'm putting it out. Okay. So that's why you're seeing me doing this. So you'll see this more often. And feel free to chat me up on WhatsApp. We can schedule a call. All right, guys. Welcome to your third video on this course. All right. Um, Here we're going to talk about growth intent. Okay, growth intent, the intention of the business to grow. Now, like I said, in the other part, in small businesses, the owner usually is not envisioning it to grow, even though they might wish that that business grows. It's a wish, but having the intention to grow is different. Now, small businesses throughout their life stay relatively small. There was a time I was in the university, so I went to buy some provision from one of the small kiosks there, and the man there told me that he has been in that kiosk since the 1970s when he was young. And he said that the current VC of the university used to come there and borrow food from him or funds from him because the VC was broke then. The VC will come there and beg him, he will lend him some small money. Now, this guy was there until recently when I even graduated, and he's boasting to me that he has been in that kiosk. But what of the VC? The VC has grown, traveled the world, conquered seven seas and oceans, and came back, you know, and become the VC of the school. Why this man is still in that kiosk? Why? Because the man is running a small business. You're not supposed to be in a kiosk for more than 1 year in your business. Okay? You're not supposed to be in a kiosk. Now, because of that mentality of staying fully in control and fully in control of the business, it makes small businesses stay as startups. All right. Now, let's look at this. A startup, it makes small businesses stay relatively small. A startup wants to take over the market. I made this point earlier, but how do they do that? Startups don't just go into any random business that works. There are many businesses that works, you know. Sometimes people show up and say, what business can I do with 100,000 naira? Basically, most of the time they are looking for startups, it's for small businesses. Hold on a second. So, but startups go into markets that are massive. All right. Startups go into markets that they can see that if we succeed in this market, it's going to be massive. That is the difference. So anybody can just open a shop and start doing tailoring or selling corn and pear. Fine, but is the market massive? That's a question. If it is massive, do you have a working strategy to take over that market? You understand? So corn is, for instance, in a big city in Nigeria like Abuja, corn is something that a lot of people buy. Now, it's a person that wants to start a small business, they don't do any research, they just open, they target a nice location and open their corn selling business. But a startup wants to really be sure of the size of the market. So you try and do, by any means necessary, estimate how much corns are being sold per day in Abuja. You know, one way to do that is you go to the street, drive around and try and count corn spots. And then ask questions. Meet the people selling the corns, ask them questions like how much do you sell per day, how many this, that. By the time you collect information from 10 to 20 corn sales locations, you can estimate, extrapolate, and now you have an idea of how big the market is. Another way is to go to the wholesalers, okay, the people that are supplying the corns, and get an idea of how much corns they are selling or selling out per day. With that, you know how much corn is being consumed. And then you can estimate whether it's a large enough market or not. And then you can multiply it by other cities where corns are being sold. So if you're convinced that it's a large enough market, then you can go into corn sales and try and take over the market, at least yank off 60 to 80% of the market. Okay, how can you start packaging a corn that all the corn buyers will start buying from you instead of others or whatever? Okay, I'm using corn as an example. In the other video, we used Life Bank as an example. Now, what of let's look at Microsoft, how Bill Gates started. Okay, so when Bill Gates was in 100 level, he realized from a TV show that IBM released a software, a new operating system, and it took them about 250 engineers to build that operating system. Okay, and they fused that operating system directly into their hardware. The hardware is the laptop, or those days is the desktop. The desktop itself is just like calculator. The operating system of a calculator is fused inside the calculator. You can't buy a Casio calculator and uninstall the OS and install a Popo OS. You understand? So computers then used to run like calculators. The hardware and the software are together. Another example of such a system now is cars. You can't buy a Tesla car, uninstall the software. Let me not use Tesla. You can't buy a Toyota car or Range Rover. Most of those has TVs. You can't uninstall the TV software there that was built for Toyota and install a new one that was built for Tesla or built for another brand. But Tesla is solving that problem because now you can upgrade your operating system on Tesla. So Tesla is thinking ahead. The Elon Musk guy, he's like way ahead of so many people in the industry. So now you can uninstall your software on Tesla and run an update. So very soon you can install the way you do on a laptop. Okay, you can pick an operating system from one Tesla brand and install the operating system of the next and get new features. You understand? So startups target massive markets. So don't let the fact that you're starting your business small hinder you from targeting a market that is extremely large. All right, don't let it interfere with that fact. Okay, so startups usually go into massive markets, and then because they're going into massive market, it means that they are instantly coming in contact and competition with very huge business players. So if you want to start manufacturing laptop today, let's assume that you're convinced that laptop market is huge in Nigeria and you want to start manufacturing it, instantly you're in competition with Omatech, with Zynox, with Asus, with Dell, with so many of these. That's what it means. But then your primary aim is to take over the market. So sometimes startups create a new market. With respect to the Bill Gates thing, after he observed the IBM advert, he told his mom that, look, build something better. He was convinced that he could build a software that was better than that. So his mom, having connections, took him to the IBM chairman, and IBM was like, okay, when are you going to demo it? In fact, from what I read, they said that he told the IBM guy that he has already built it. IBM said, when are you going to demo it? He said in 21 days. That's in 3 weeks' time. So they scheduled a meeting. The IBM guy was curious. How can you, an individual, build something better than what 250 of my engineers built? So for that 21 days that Bill Gates went back to school, convinced his roommates that they're going to build that, and they never participated in class or lectures or anything. So for 21 days, they were building that. When they now took it at the end of the 21 days and demoed, the IBM manager or chairman was so convinced that their software was actually better and more efficient than the one their engineers built. What did he do? He tried to recruit them to start working inside IBM. What did they say? They said no. They went and registered Microsoft. That was how they started. Bill Gates and Paul Allen. They registered Microsoft, the company, and told IBM, you partner with our startup. Why? Now you can see the vision. The moment IBM partnered, what was the partnership? IBM said, okay, let us pay you once and buy the software. Let's pay you one huge amount and buy the software. Usually, a small business will accept that because it means that you don't hammer, you just hit a lick. You get your prayers finally answered. But Bill Gates was smarter than that. He told IBM, no, instead of you paying us this huge fund, why not pay us low? And we're going to sign a contract that you will not be the only one we're going to sell that software to. Let us be free to sell our software to anybody, but you pay low for this software. Now, IBM looked around the market and they saw that they were the only key players in the industry. They didn't have any competitors. They were the only ones making computers. They used to call them, I think, international business machines or something. So they saw that they were the only ones making computers. They were no competitors. So they were like, what's the Gates pointing at? What's he thinking? So they accepted a lower deal, a lower amount of money to pay, but on the condition that Bill Gates can sell to anybody. Immediately that deal was, Bill Gates started going to all other hardware manufacturers. I mean, people building cars, building chairs, building any electronic hardware manufacturer, computers, airplanes, people building all sorts of hardware, and told them, look, you guys should start building computers. What we notice is that the reason you're not building computers is because you don't have the technical expertise to build the software, the operating system inside it. Now we are bringing you an operating system. Build a laptop, we'll give you an operating system, you install it. You pay us a little amount of money. Instead of you spending billions in investing in software developers that will build your own OS, no. Take our OS for a little amount of money, or we charge you per sale, per laptop sale, but just go and start building laptops. You already have the machines to build any hardware you want. Before you know it, boom, there were so many hardware laptop manufacturers in the industry. So that's how we ended up with a system where an Asus company will, my laptop today is Asus. So an Asus company will have a Windows OS, a Dell company will manufacture a laptop that has Windows OS. Even in Nigeria here, there are two laptop manufacturers, Omatech and Zynox. So Zynox can have, they manufacture the software at the end, the hardware at the end, they just download the software and put in there and pay a certain license fee. Or pay license fee per usage. That was how Bill Gates made a lot of money. Compared to Mac OS, till today, Mac OS is fused with the Apple laptop. It's the same company manufacturing Mac that is manufacturing the Apple hardware, in quotes. Of course, they have some what do you call it now? They have made some substantial changes where some, like Sony, might be manufacturing some parts of their hardware. Intel might manufacture their processor. But generally, the company that owns the Apple MacBook is the one that manufactures the OS. But that's different from what Bill Gates did. So basically, what I'm trying to point out is that Bill Gates created a new market where there was none. So don't be afraid if your startup is going to create a new market where there is none. Just be sure that your method is going to work. Just be sure that it's convincing. Now, because of what you're trying to target, what you notice is that you need substantial investments from day one. It's not like you want to run it on your own income. Now, in businesses, when you are using your own money or your family funds or whatever to run your business, it's called bootstrapping. So when you start your business or your startup, yes, you bootstrap. You and your co-founder or whoever you're working with will bootstrap. You just raise your own funds. Why are you bootstrapping initially? Because you want to get it to a point where you can call investor and the investor will look at it and be convinced. So it's not just about slides and presentations. Yes, there are companies that invest on ideas only. When you're still at the ideation stage, if they are really convinced in you, like Instagram, when they were building Instagram, they got $500,000 even before they launched Instagram or something. They were still coming up with Instagram when they were given $500,000. Why? Because the founder has already built another app called Bourbon, and I think Bourbon shut down. So they were already convinced of his expertise. So when he was now asking for $500,000 and whatever, they were like, oh, we know what you can do. It was pretty convincing. So if you're going to present only an idea to some company, you better be sure that you can convince them. Otherwise, build something called a prototype. A prototype is basically a version of your business that demonstrates that it can work. Okay? Basic prototype. So if you want to build multiple shops across the city and across the country, you can just build two and prove that when somebody is making purchase here, the other party is noting it, and whatever your business model is, So if you're now talking to an investor, they can see that, yes, this is what it looks like. Okay. From this small prototype, we can see that they can even, if we structure it properly, they can make profits. If we give them money, it can grow. So as a startup, you need substantial investments early, but before then, you can also bootstrap. First 6 months, first 8 months, you're bootstrapping. And once you get to that prototype stage, boom, you start looking for investors. There are investors that all they need to see is your prototype and then they take you serious. All right. See you in the next video where we talk about another key difference between startups and small businesses. By now, you know that small businesses aren't usually looking at raising funds. Even when they want to raise funds, they don't, they take it as loans that they will pay back. But when it comes to startups, startups don't just want the funds. They don't just want your money. In fact, some startups accept investors' money not because they need the money, it's because they're looking at it from a point of view that they want to rope the investor in. All right. That point of view, they want to take the investor in so that the investor can start seriously supporting the business. All right. See you in the next video where we talk about something else that will make a difference between startups and small businesses. The YouTube people, how you doing? Prince Imo said, I want to build my YouTube channel. I have a course on this, so I have a course. I have two courses. If you are building it with just your phone, there's a course on that. If you want to build it with your phone and your laptop, there's a course on that. Okay. So just go there, pick the course. There are some things you see in that course you never see anywhere on the internet. Because you as a Nigerian, the way you grow your YouTube channel is different from the way an American is going to grow it. So some people will always say, why don't I go online and just get a course from any of the millions of courses on the internet? I'll be like, yeah, go ahead. You know, if you're going to take mine, just know that you're going to learn things that tips and tricks that you will not find anywhere, that are specific to Nigerians, people with Nigerian accents. Because part of being a Nigerian is that sometimes you are stuck with a Nigerian accent. If you're stuck with a Nigerian accent, you may never be able to convince other people to watch your channel. You know, what are the ways around it? What are the different ways around it? So I've covered that. And don't be egotistic. There was a friend of mine that I was talking to the other day. I told her, I looked at her channel and she has a lot of views, you know. She has a lot of she had not views now, but she has created a lot of content. And I was telling her that, look, I can see the mistake you're making just by going through your channel. I see where you're making mistakes. You have a lot of content, you don't have a lot of views. You know, her highest view is like 50 views. I'm like, there's no way you are creating so many content like that and you're not getting views. There's a problem, and I can see it. All right, just call me and let's talk about it. I'll put you through. And honestly, I wanted to do that free because we've been close friends. The reply I got was that I'm not into getting views. I just want to be an industry mover. I'm not interested. I was like, okay, fine. Next time you ask me for that, you're gonna pay heavily. Go and live your life without views. You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If people are not seeing it, that thing is non-existent. You know, no matter how good it is. So if you have a channel, you're not getting views, go and get my course. You know, how much will it cost you? I don't even know how much the course is now, Seth. I don't have it offhand, but whatever you spent on the course, just like when I bought my first MacBook, I spent a lot, almost 800 and something thousand naira. But the following month, I made it back because that system was so effective. You know, what I used it for, the following month, I made it back just from what I used the system for. Now imagine every other month since then. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes it's actually an investment. So go to my site, brainterm.com.org and get the course. Drop questions, comments in the comment section, YouTube people, and I will reply. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop it there, and I'll be the first to reply you. All right, I think we're coming to the last. Is this not the last? Right. Okay. Yeah, this is second to the last slide. Okay, I think this is the last slide. I'm going to just make this slide and round up this course. All right, guys, we've already hammered on some of the interesting points about small businesses and startups. But the last point I want to hammer on is the fact that small businesses can take loans from anybody. Okay, if a bank is giving out loan, they will go and collect it. You know, if it's any other financial institution, they will go and collect it. But when it comes to startups, startups don't just want to collect loan from just anybody. No, they are usually very picky. And in fact, if your startup has the right idea and traction, what will happen is that you will get different kinds of funding requests from different investors. Investors will be pushing and itching to give you money because they want to buy into your startup. They can see that it's going to grow in the next 1 or 2 years, or they already know another company that they can contact and compel them to buy or convince them to buy your startup. All right. So when you're getting funding from an investor in small business, you know it's a loan. You just want to pay back at the end of the day. But if it's funding from an investor into your company, you know that you're going to give them equity to hold them down. So you're going to give them a part of your company in exchange for money. You will not pay back that money. So if you got that money and the business failed, everybody goes home. you know So in place of working hard to pay back the money, you want to give them a small percentage of your company, you know, and tomorrow they could even help you to convince others to bring more money in exchange for more percentage. So first time you raise funding, call it Series A. If you're raising from a VC, you know, and what happens is that people, let's say from an angel investor, right? Angel investor is basically individuals that have money that want to invest. They're not part of any company or syndicate or whatever, or team. No, they just have money and they don't know what to do with the money. They are looking for businesses. How can I put this money? So picture a politician that just completed their tenure and they have earned a lot of money in office, and they have, let's say, this politician earned 100 million naira, and they are looking for a business to put that money into without necessarily being the one to do the work. So you approach them and say, hey, we have a business and we're into tailoring. Okay, this is how we intend to grow. And they are convinced. They give you the money. But then in exchange for something, so let's say they give you 25 million naira and they take 25% of your company. Tomorrow, that means you now own 75%, right? Which means you're still very much in control. All right. As long as you're the highest shareholder in that company, you're still very much in control. So let's say after 6 months, that 25 million naira has depleted. It's now remaining 2 million naira. And if you don't raise another money, there's problem. The business is going to go down. You go back to that investor and say, hey, look, we have just finished that 25 million. We have not made profit yet. We need to raise more money. Now, because the person is tied in, they own part of that business. You see them trying to help you to find other people to put money into the business. And frankly, it's easier when somebody has already invested for others to invest, because others will look at the person that invested and say, oh, if this guy can invest in this business, that means I can invest too. You understand? So getting your first funding is usually the hardest. But after that first funding, it's easier to convince others. So you see people that earlier invested trying to look for other investors to convince to put money into your business. Now, now you know what an angel investor is. What of a VC? A VC or venture capitalists investor, these are companies or groups of people that have bound, they bind together, and they now start looking for startups. Their business is to look for startups to give money in exchange for a percentage. So usually VCs will have a template. They will tell you, if we give you $10,000, we're taking 7%. If we give you $25,000, we're taking this. If we give you this, and we're taking that. These are the things we expect from your business before we can give you this money. All right. So you go and start trying to fulfill those promises before you can't get the money. Now the thing with VCs, VCs usually have a network of other businesses they have invested in. They usually have a very large network. So if a VC gives you $10,000, for instance, or $20,000, which is around 10 million naira, if they give you $20,000, that's not all. All of a sudden, they expose you to all the 20, 50 startups they have already invested in, you know, and then all those startups start working together to help you to get off the ground and get successful. You know, somebody that gave you 10 million naira for your makeup studio to grow, you know, may also have invested in a tailoring studio. They might have invested in a cinema. So what they're going to do, they will tell you, take your makeup, put one of your makeup branches in front of our cinema, you know, so that you will start getting a whole lot of customers. So before you know it, you are growing not just because of the money they gave you, but because of the connections that they have. So that's why when you are taking investment from angel investors or venture capitalists, you want to be picky about it. Now, another thing is that the first investment usually takes a large chunk. So on the very first time, somebody might give you 25 million and take 25% of your company. That's large, right? They are taking a large chunk of your company for just 25 million. But by 1 year's time or 2 years' time, when your company has succeeded further, your company is now worth more. The next person the next person investing might give you 100 million naira for 10%. You know, they give you more money for 10% because your company is now worth more. The next person might give you 2 billion naira for 5%. You understand? So don't be in a hurry to accept investment from just about anybody. You want to be sure that that person has a network and the intention. Because, you know, these VCs, they are, remember the second word there, they're not just venture, they're also capitalists. So in the end of the day, they might have some tricks up their sleeves to even take your company from you. So that's why you need to take my next course. I have another course where I teach you exactly the terminologies they use, the questions they ask, how to do the proper calculations. There are a number of key calculations you need to do about your business, and there is a spreadsheet I'll provide that has already done it. So you just enter your business numbers, it gives you the answers. Okay, so convincing them to invest in your business is one thing, or one hurdle you have to pass. So you have to get your business and know some things in your business already before you even approach them, because they're going to ask you. All right, and if you fumble, that means you don't even know what you're doing. They're not going to take you serious. So you need to know some things about your business already. Okay, and then you need to understand some things about them, how they play their game. You get. So for instance, some venture capitalists might give you too much money than you need. You might be asking for 25 million. They'll say, no, why not just take 100 million? You know, but in exchange, they'll have an agreement that says that even though you're getting 100 million, you have to meet certain targets. If you don't meet that target, you lose control of the company or something, whatever. You know, so sometimes even though they're offering you 100 million, you don't want to accept 100 million, you want to accept 25. So, but you need to know the conditions. All right, so that's what I'll treat in the next course. Okay, so I'll put the link if you're watching this from my channel. Okay, I'll put the link of that next course below this video, so you just click on it and go and take it and understand all the different terminologies like pre-seed, idea stage, prototype. We're talking about pre-money valuation, post-money valuation. You know, all those little terminologies that you need to know at the back of your head, and some calculations about your business you need to know before you apply. All right, like I said in another course, I already give out a list of contacts of venture capitalists and granting agencies in Nigeria, and agencies that give you money for your business. Okay, both the ones that give you free and the ones that want a part of your business. I even put office addresses that if you just want to go, you can just drive in, meet the secretary there, and get more information. I'll put that link also below this video. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this course, and you can now see clearly where your business is different from a startup. And see you in the next course. YouTube people, Precious said, how long did it take you to begin receive payments on your YouTube? It took me 4 years. First YouTube channel, I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing rubbish. You know, like I was putting correct content, but I didn't know how YouTube works to grow the channel. So I was thinking that there weren't enough people in the universe to watch my channel. Then one day, one certain October, you know, I realized what works. And that realization was accidental. The moment I realized it, before December, I was making $2,500 from YouTube alone. You know, my channel grew so fast within a short period, from making $10 to $2,500 within 2 months. It grew so fast. Like it was so phenomenal. Like at the waka for road, at the mad, I was talking to myself on the road. You know, so I've compiled all those things in a course. Go and take my YouTube course, especially the bigger one. You know, even if you don't have a laptop, take that bigger one, because that one, even in that bigger one, self, I started a channel from scratch in that bigger one. Before that course ended, you know, the way I just did one full course now, before that course ended, a particular video in that channel was having about 80,000 views, just one video in that channel, because I followed the methods. You understand? So since then, I've created multiple channels. Within 1 or 2 months, I've already got 1,000 subscribers and whatever, and it has blown. I've created another channel like that because now I know how it works. Okay, so go get my course, especially the big one. That's where most of that big one has 33 videos. 33. Step by step, you see me analyze, see me open the channel, you know, show you that this is how you find out this is how this is what you're supposed to enter here and save it. This is what you're supposed to configure here. This, that. You will see it live and direct. And you still see how one video blew before that course ended. All right. So thank you very much, guys. See you. Any last questions while I just finish up this some details on this course? If you have any last question, drop it. Otherwise, I'll also end the live video from YouTube. Any last questions? If you don't have a YouTube, see, if you have children that can talk already, open YouTube channel for them. Or there's an entire YouTube section for kids. Open YouTube channel for your kids, so that within 2 to 3 years, they are raising enough money from that channel to pay their school fees. You know, except you want to pay school fees all your life. Now, this one shock you, Abby. You want to pay school fees all your life. Open channel for your kids. All those assignments that you're teaching them, be putting it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Put it on YouTube. They will come back, they'll be given assignments to do multiplication table. You put the child beside you, you on a channel on your YouTube, the way I just on my YouTube, and you're the child. Other people from online are following. If you do that consistently, the amount of millions of views you're going to be getting will pay for that child's school fees and take them through university education. Shock you. Have you want to use work key yourself? You know, you want to be paying your child's school fees from your salary. You want to use work key yourself. You know, I don't know how many years you are, but if I add 10 years to your age, you are old. You know, you'll be much older. But if you add 10 years to your child's age, the child is still maybe an adolescent. You get what I'm saying? Or just a teenager. Even if you add 20 years, they are still kids per se. But if you add 20 years to your age, so what you're thinking of, let me just get quick returns, is because you're getting older. But your child can play the long game, so you have to start it now. They can play the long game. You understand? Even if the child is a toddler learning to walk, every day put one of their videos on the internet, what they're doing. But you need to do it properly so that before they are even turning year 1 or year 2, boom, you are making a lot of money from that channel. A good example is Emanuela. You know, one of the richest YouTubers in Nigeria is actually a small girl called Emanuela. In the world, one of the richest YouTuber in the world is a small boy and his father. Small boy and his father making $8 million. So questions before I end this broadcast. I'm about to end it. Questions. This video I'm gonna delete it too because it's a cost, so people know will get them free. You know what I'm saying? It's not free, no more freebies. So if you want to get the course that I made, like now you can't get resources on this course, but on the course I made now, I'm putting resources there, a lot of resources. So if you want to get all the resources, go to my channel and pick it. I'll try and make this course extremely cheap so you can just pay for it and go ahead. All right. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much, guys, for paying attention, and see you. Peace. Mwah.